Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 5th of July. So in the UK here we've seen what seems to be quite a major slide towards the Labour Party there. At the moment I'm just looking 409 votes for Labour Party, seats, sorry, 119 seats for the Conservatives. Actually I was probably right in terms of votes for a moment, because apparently the turnout was pretty thin on the ground. But anyway, Conservatives way behind. Got just over a quarter of what the Labour Party has, so not looking good. Absolutely blasted through the majority there on the Labour side of things. So we'll see what happens here. Liberal Democrats have gone up from 11 seats to 71. SNP have lost 36. Scottish National Party lost 36 seats. Green Party got 4. Went from 0 to 4. That's pretty good. And Reform went from 0 to 4. Look at that. Anyway, I don't mean that's pretty good as in I'm pleased with the Green Party getting 4 seats. I'm just referring to the fact that that's 400% increase. Right, okay, let's look at the markets themselves and what we've got coming out today firstly. Now, a lot of what we're seeing here is at the moment is dollar weakness coming through, as we're seeing further dollar data coming, or US data coming out, which is missing expectations. ISM services 3 o'clock yesterday there, 48.8, so it's gone into contraction on the services side of things there, which is not a good sight for it, sign even for the US economy. And it's suggesting, it's really, I was just reading through my other news feed there, that it really seems like we've got a chance of an interest rate cut in the US in September again. Now that had been pushed back, and then it looks very unlikely altogether. Now it's starting to look likely again. Sorry, I'm looking at Wednesday's data. There we go. Construction PMI came out 52.2 versus 54 yesterday. Beg your pardon. Today, though, we got the unemployment numbers, the employment data. There's an expected average earnings reduction there, but more importantly is the non-farm employment change looking to be below that, the magical 200,000. 200,000 is proper growth effectively. They need to be running around about 200,000 plus to be actually growing. Anything less than that isn't. Unemployment rate 4%. If these figures came out poorly, that would give even more strength to the, well, weakness to the dollar, I should say. So that's where we are in the fundamental side of the world. We're now looking at the technicals. The euro here, you can see yesterday it pushed up yesterday, but it was relatively a small movement. It fitted in within the sort of third of the movement from that was retraced yesterday, just over, or sorry, the previous day, Wednesday. We are pushing up. We've got the higher low coming through. It's certainly looking like a more positive market for the euro moving forward. It's funny, a couple of us have talked about this at the beginning of the week. We'd like to see something more positive, but it's taken, well, it's proven itself. Really, Wednesday was the turning point there. These services data coming in poorly didn't help things, but I mean it was already moving before that. Anyway, we're now, as I say, I expect further upside. As into trading this today, I didn't take the trade yesterday. We was looking at it. It moved slowly, and it was about 6 hours before it did anything. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then it eventually started drifting up. It would have hit target that I was looking at on that move, but with the risk and everything else in the market, it was on one-to-one risk reward. It wasn't for me balanced enough in my favour. Today, I would really have liked to see this come back to its pivot. It has run into its R1 first, and gives it a 75% chance of running into its R2, but if it breaks through again and stays in that, but saying that, it's so close, it's hardly any real target, and you see how pinched these pivots are. Yesterday's range so tight, so I reckon we should, if we get any movement, it should push through these pivots completely. R2 so close, R3, yeah, maybe a possibility, but it's certainly looking more positive technically. I don't really want to hold things through the up to non-farms, but if we get through those, we might get opportunity to hold over the weekend, pushing towards these the previous highs. The yearly pivot might come back into play, but I will be looking long side next week unless something fundamentally goes wrong this afternoon, or goes well for the US, I should say. The pound, so surprisingly, it's not that surprising. I suppose it's just the markets don't like hung parliaments, etc., because there's no decisions that are clearly made. There's an expectation that big decisions are going to be made on the financial side of things. They can't keep on spending money, so there's going to be some significant cuts somewhere, and there's probably going to be some significant taxes raised through one way or t'other. Normally council tax, a lot of people expecting, and etc., but we'll see what they actually do. But either way, it looks like the markets are thinking that we've got a far safer pair of hands, so long as Diane Abbott doesn't take over as the Chancellor of the Exchequer, in which case we will see this market, we'll see the pound drop down to parity with the euro, the pound and everything else. You watch it. Anyway, and I think that's very unlikely to happen. Either of those things happening, that is. Right, so pound going up. I don't have a trade immediate for this. Again, it's sort of already trickled up there. It's pretty close to double top area here. It might start pushing, continuing back through there later. Would again like to see the movement. If I can see something off these pivots today, a retrace to the pivots and a little reversal bar, that would be, for both of these, really what I'd be looking for. The US dollar yen, we're starting to see a little bit, with the US dollar weakening so well, we are actually seeing the yen making a bit of ground up here, with lower highs coming through now on the 4 hourly. So it's maybe we've got some cracks forming here, which could see me next week being a bit more positive for the yen. I'm looking to buy the yen effectively at some stage, but it's got to be clear now. We have made things, as I say, easier by breaking this low here from Wednesday there, taking that Wednesday spike out there in a more subtle but steady way. We'll see what happens today. It's bouncing off its S2 at the moment here, but it might not be we get a trade this morning or today. I would probably wait for the non-farms anyway to be out of the way, but we could be seeing a bit of a continuation to the downside. It's looking better than it has done. That doesn't mean to say it's going to be the same against all the markets. It's barely touching on some, and when you look at the big scale here, it's not really done too much so far. We're still in those sort of near those previous highs. Some surprise data on the non-farms would be easy for this just to push back up there. Okay, Aussie dollar continuing again. These markets not overly charging up on in their own steam by the looks of things. It's more like what the dollar's failing rather than the other currencies' successes. And you're seeing again the same sort of thing here. Same picture. It doesn't matter which market you're looking at, really. We got the potential again to see the pullback to the daily pivot. I prefer it on the euro and the pound because we've just got more volume that comes through just throughout the day on those two, and I'll trust it a little bit more. This is already coming off a lot quicker than the other two. This looks a bit softer. It's probably got some divergence running across in the higher time frames. I would imagine you must have with a pattern like that, he says. There we go. Not on the MACD, hasn't diverged on it. It's holds still, but there's a bit of divergence across the RSI readings, which are a bit more aggressive. Okay. US dollar CAD. So the US dollar CAD has been quite steady on the downside yesterday. It just carried on. This one did break down yesterday more significantly. Today it's barely moving at this stage. In fact, again, we're seeing the dollar just gain a little bit at the moment. This to me is quite good news. Any dollar gains first thing today may give us opportunities. Got to be careful on the timing. Depends on what happens with the timing. This yesterday just drizzled, dribbled. It just ran down very, very slowly, but the CAD strengthened against the dollar here. We could see the same, but of course non-farm payrolls might slow things up there. New Zealand dollar. It's the slowest of the majors against the US dollar. It's trying to pick something up there. It's struggling with its new monthly pivot here. It's got its new quarterly right the way down here, which it's bounced off so far this week. I'm just looking, but it is looking also like it's much softer at this stage. We could have something more rolling over here, and if you were looking at the sort of the downside, something like the New Zealand dollar might just give you a bit more downside if it breaks the daily pivot in particularly. But I like the resistance off the upper time frames here. It's just, well, structurally it's minorly changing things here. It's a bit of a mixed boat there. So finally Swissy. Swissy heading a little bit on the south side here against the dollar, pulling back a bit more again today. It had its surge up yesterday, never really could hold on to that, the dollar movement, and well, the Swissy was looking weaker, but even the Swissy's strengthening against the US dollar. We'll see what happens there, but it's not my favourite one to be trading during the day anyway. It's more of a swing trade. Right, okay, so really to summarise on the currencies here, looking for the euro, the pound maybe to be pulling back towards their pivots and seeing if we can get something off these. Maybe if it takes too long and doesn't happen earlyish this morning, we have to wait until those non-farms come out, but that's the way it goes. Right, I just pressed the wrong button, sorry, hold on a minute. Let me just get a hold of the indices, that's what I wanted. Quick look at gold. A few gold spotters out there. Yesterday really did barely anything. Doji bars fractionally down on its open. Summarised things pretty well with the July the 4th closure, and some markets didn't help things. It's double topped, it's pushed up this morning, double topped and just again rolling over a little bit. Already hit the pivot, so I don't expect such a bounce off of that, but it has got the overall leaning to the upside, and the more we see the dollar sold, and if the figures do come out later badly, I expect gold will continue to push up there. Oil generally increases in price when the dollar weakens. What we're seeing here though is, well, it's a bit of a softer case here. It's gradually getting up there. Today it's just softening off a little, but it's not far off of breaking through its pivot again here and maybe continuing towards its R1. Again, it's a bit of I much prefer it in the afternoon. These movements, 2 o'clock yesterday, pushed off nicely, right up bang to its R1. This is the sort of moves I like in the afternoons here. So we've got to be patient on that anyway. For me, always am patient. Always am patient on that. Right. S&P's around the all-time highs again. It's pitched out again today. This sort of discussions, comments and thoughts of interest rates being cut this year has been again more positive and deemed positive. Oops, I just managed to get back to oil, sorry. deemed positive, and we're breaking out the highs here. Very smooth movement up this morning. Again, a bit of correction might come through on these, but the long side for me is the only side on these markets at the moment. Nasdaq the same, straight up there. So I'll come back to daily charts here, all looking very positive. Coming closer to home, the DAX then, that's pushed off this morning. DAX really getting a bit of a kicker through here. Quite solid. This morning already gone really for a lot of people. It's into its R2, so it hit the pivot right the way through. Real shove up there this morning. FTSE hasn't had any. There's no impact on the election results of the FTSE. In the past, quite often, when Labour have got in, it's been not particularly taken nicely by the markets, but I think the large majority has given them the way to do something. And again, well, it's hardly flying, but it's steady at the moment, and we've got potential with the higher lows, higher highs. Technically, it still looks quite positive here. Okay, I shall leave it there. I'm going to wish you a great weekend, and I will catch you on Monday. Take care. Catch you later.